Hello, and thanks for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangouts. I'm Ayodele Ozubahu. It is 15 days to the presidential election in Nigeria. It is not yet late to start getting set for the polls. Today on the program, NBA meets with Oshibajo over suspension of CJN, ponders on political solution as appeal court refuses to halt Onnoghen's trial at CCT. 15 months after allegation, EFCC files fraud charges against Babache and Oke. And later on the show, Lagos Assembly refuses to back down on the impeachment threats against Governor Akinwumi Ambode, insists governor must appear before lawmakers. I'll be hanging out with Janet Afolabi Mba, Tunde Abaton, and Babatunde Kolade Otitoju will be joining us from our Abuja studio. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us. There is fire on the Temple of Justice in Nigeria. Unexpectedly, the learned occupants are running. A 12-man team of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, met on Wednesday with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo over the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Justice Onnoghen. The meeting at the presidential villa in Abuja was born out of the need to adopt a political solution to the judicial impasse. The team, led by NBA President Mr. Paul Usoro, tabled a 6-point resolution to the Vice President, part of which is to seek soft landing for the suspended CJN. But Onnoghen is not having it rosy at the court either. The Abuja division of the Court of Appeal refused to a stay of proceedings in this trial at the Code of Conduct Tribunal, CCT. The court ruled that the Administration of Criminal Justice Act does not allow for stay of proceedings in criminal matters. Gentlemen, Janet, let me start from you. Ab initio, I thought our senior lawyers, everybody came out vociferously last week, and it was like, oh, they are trying to rubbish water on our hair, they are trying to desecrate the judiciary. Why is NBA looking for a political solution if this man is innocent?
I think they are looking for political solution because Oshibajo is one of them. You know, the primary constituency of Oshibajo is the judiciary. So maybe they decided to go see him and discuss in the language that both parties will understand and say, how can we handle this matter? This matter that was raised, the dust that had been raised by this allegation has refused to die down. Instead, it has been aggravating. Each party claiming rights. The government is saying he has to go because of the allegations. And the lawyers are saying, no, the procedure is not right. So you see that one side claiming procedure, another side claiming substance. Did he do it or did he not do it? Is he guilty or is he innocent? And NBA, perhaps he has sat down and seen that this thing requires wisdom. A lot of wisdom and caution. Those are the key words. At this time, with caution and wisdom, they decided to go see the vice president, and then they discussed about 6 points, saying they don't agree with the procedure which the government was using to tackle the problem, and they're looking for soft landing for him to either resign or retire without trial. But that's the area that I do not agree with. He can resign or retire, but they will still try him. That's what I think, because an allegation had been made. It has to be proven, but he may not need to be coerced into, leaving the office or be disgraced out. He can be allowed to live in a dignified manner because of we can be allowed to resign. I accept that part, but the second part is what I think they should not allow, because if they set that precedent, then other judges can also retire or resign and go home and enjoy their loot without any trial.
Okay,
and that would not be good
thank
for
you.
us.
Tunde, now, perhaps when I saw the Court of Appeal saying that, look, the ACJ 2015, the law they made is not saying you can't stay proceedings until on a criminal matter that go back to CCT, you have a case to answer. Well, what do you make of it?
I think basically what we have to know that at any point in time, at any position we are in, there has to be sincerity when you sit down to craft a law. Nigeria had the same problem with those who drafted 1979 Constitution, and we had a lot of issues with the 12th to 3rd Amendment, that because nobody said that a situation whereby we come, we have to divide the state, which is an individual. And that was a subject matter. And at the end of the day, when they gave a judgment at the court, the presiding judge said it could not be referred to in law. I think the MB, the bar, they are trying to do what they should have done in the first instance. They allowed emotion to run over when they rose up, about 94 of them, and followed the CJN. Knowing fully well that the person that you are defending knows he has erred in law, and he admitted having erred in law. Because ignorance of the law is not an excuse for committing an offense. I think what the NBA is trying to do is they are trying to get through the back door what they cannot get in the court. Because
okay.
You know that.
Let's quickly join Jide from Abuja. Babajide? Babajide? Okay. All right. I think Jide is not ready yet.
Yes, yeah, they are trying to get through the back door what they cannot get through the court. What the facts of the matter that is available to all Nigerians points to the fact that at the end of the day, the MB and the bench may be disgraced if they have to pursue this matter in the way the federal government wants it. Because you never know, maybe there are many other Onnoghens in the Supreme Court.
Let's join Jide now. Jide, Walter Onnoghen famously sat on that panel, the Supreme Court judge that actually adjudicated on the case of Bukola Saraki when he was tried in CCT. And he was the one, that judgment quoted this 2015 Administration of Criminal Justice Act, saying you cannot stall the proceedings in any criminal case, and that thing is haunting Onnoghen back, I think, less than 2 years.
Yeah. It's always said that be careful what you say, be careful what you wish. Onnoghen did the right thing by giving that judgment at that time, but he couldn't have imagined that one day he will be in that position. And don't forget, you see, when we talk about Onnoghen, it's not just Onnoghen fighting his corner. There are many lawyers doing their best to ensure that the sanitization of the judiciary is not successful, because the Yorubas will say Taba Fagburu, Afagbo. By the time that you begin to drag judges here and there and putting judges on trial, many of these big-time lawyers will also be put on trial, because lawyers are the most ill-reputable conduit through which bribes are funneled to judges. So if crooked lawyers have this notoriety for funneling money to judges, it then means that if the sanitization of the judiciary is followed through efficiently, many of the lawyers that are prominent today, many of the lawyers fighting the corner of the CJN, of the suspended CJN, would be made to face justice. So they are also fighting the fight of their lives. So as they fight for Onnoghen, they are fighting for themselves. By implication, that is what is happening. So it is the lawyers who are filing these applications here and there. Can you imagine the industrial court weighing in on this matter? Industrial court. the industrial court weighing in on this Onnoghen matter, all kinds of applications filed here and there. It is because some lawyers see the attempt to bring Onnoghen to justice as something that may eventually affect them in the fullness of time. So they will want to do their best to ensure that this effort does not succeed. I remember a lawyer telling me that, look, Buhari will see the real definition of judicial coup because the justice will not be served, or the sort of justice that he wanted will not be served.
I wanted to ask you, if you are listening to me, Jide, can you hear me?
There is no way you are seeking some form of favor from the appeal court, but the person about whom you are seeking that favor has not even agreed to be brought before the CCT. So what are we talking about?
Okay.
So the lawyers are jittery. That's why they are running from pillar to post, trying to do their best to ensure that Onnoghen is not put on trial.
Okay, Janet. In this situation now, I think we are getting there gradually.
Yes.
Now, because the logjam was like a big confusion as at a week ago.
Or 2 weeks ago.
Now that the Senate, they've decided to go to the Supreme Court, is a constitutional matter to be given accelerated hearing, and the Supreme Court will adjudicate pronto on what Mr. President actually did, the suspension, because, you know, on the suspension. And now the Court of Appeal is saying, Mr. Man, please go back to the CCT. Whatever stay you want to, whatever this thing you want to file, you file it while your trial is on at the CCT. Now we can get a truce. But with this meeting with Professor Oshibajo, that these lawyers are, you know, sitting, maybe they have the opinion that no, this man will be dented at the end of the day, head or tail. That office has been brought into a big question mark has been brought to the name of the CJN. That man might not be able to continue as a CJN of Nigeria. What is your line of thought with this?
There is no doubt that Onnoghen may not be able to continue as a CJN of this country because his image is supposed to be clean before the world. He's representing the highest authority in that arm of government. And this allegation may have dented that image, not only him, but of the institution that he represents. And that is why the truth, the real truth, will manifest from the meetings between the NBA and Vice President. I think that's where the real peace will come out from. Instead of going to this one, going to Supreme Court, going to...
Part of it is that the lawyers are saying that they should drop all the charges.
That is the clause that I am saying they should not drop all the charges. The lawyers are claiming that the government wants to desecrate the judiciary. And like Otitoju said, it is also a sign of fear that the judiciary, the corruption in the judiciary may be exposed. There is corruption everywhere, but it just varies in manifestation and magnitude. It's everywhere. So they are fighting a battle of their reputation, of the judiciary. I know it's a noble profession. They are knowledgeable people, so they want to protect it, and they want to protect it well. But the Supreme Court, the National Assembly angle may not work. It may only keep on dragging and dragging. The Abuja Appeal Court that has said, no, go back to CCT, has taken a ruling. But I'm wondering how that will be interpreted against the kind of judgment that was given to Kwangiwa. You understand? You remember? Do you remember? Yes. In Kwangiwa's case, he was also accused of collecting 200 and something million from somebody. And the case went to court. And the court said, no, that you cannot bring this matter. It was a woman, the judge was a woman. I said, you cannot bring this matter to me without the NJC first looking into it. And then the EFCC got angry and went to the appeal court. And the appeal court upheld what the High Court has said. And EFCC interpreted it as usurpation of the powers the appeal court interpreted as the usurpation of the powers of the NJC. Okay. But EFCC said, no, this is an error in judgment. And Sage, Professor Sage...
That's the Court of Appeal?
Yes, the Court of Appeal. And Professor Sage...
Has it been appealed at the Supreme Court?
No, because it was at that appeal court. But let me just conclude the point. Then Professor Sage came out to say the judgment was made in error, that it was an illicit way for judges to seek immunity for themselves, and so that judgment would not hold. And the same thing that Wahab Shitu, EFCC lawyer, came up to say, there is nowhere in the Constitution that says that NJC, a lawyer that is a judge that must first go to NJC and all that. So it became so now we are having a similar matter, allegations of corruption, and two courts have said different things. I don't know. That's why I'm saying that truth. That truth may be the real...
I think there's something that we have to get right. See, when a society, a country is going through transformation, whether you like it or not, Nigeria is going through transformation. All the institutions of states will be affected one way or the other. Like I said before, the bar and the bench, they're just trying to save an image that is not there. There's the bench, they're just trying to save an image that is not there. There's no way you can return the image the CJN had before the allegation came, because he admitted that he made a mistake by forgetting his account. It's not possible. Even a 10-year-old boy, he knows how much he has in his small bank. So by doing that, I think what we have to do, like he said, I don't want a situation whereby we are going to just panel beat the whole thing and make it real as if in order to save the Chief Justice. You have to save the judiciary. We have to save that particular seat. And by saving it, we have to make sure the most judicial officer in the country goes through the normal channel. If you do patch behind the wall, like I said, the NJC, the MBA, and the bench, they are trying to get what they cannot get in the court. They want to get it through the back door. And when you get it through the back door, there are about 10 or so lawyers on the Supreme Court bench. Do you know how many of them have similar cases? If you use the same thing for this one, then the law of precedence will take course. And when precedent takes course, the whole judiciary is in a mess. So I don't think we should just unnecessarily allow this thing. Let us go through the whole hog. Let him face trial. He may be pardoned, but let him face trial.
Babajide, are you there? After the 48 hours court boycott, the Nigerian Bar Association actually, ordered, yet the NBA is seeking a political solution to this through the Vice President.
Yeah, I think the political situation, a solution that the NBA seeks would mean that Onnoghen would resign from his position so that he is not disgraced. The sight of CJN being brought before a judge and put on trial is the most embarrassing sight that any lawyer, any judicial officer would not want to experience. So I can understand what the NBA is doing. They'll get Onnoghen to quit his position so that he will not be put through extreme humiliation that will putting him on trial amounts to. I think that this is their goal. But whether the federal government or the Attorney General will agree to that is another thing, because when you run foul of the law of the land, to what can effectively serve as a deterrent is to put you on trial, to show that the law is no respecter of anyone, to show that we indeed operate the rule of law are not law of rulers. So if you look for a political solution which would ensure that the CJN is not put on trial, and then he probably forfeits some of what he has illegally acquired to the federal government, it may make some people happy, but will the Attorney General, will the federal government agree to that? Because I'm sure that to them, this will be a plus to the war against corruption, to say that, look, we went as far as putting the number one judicial officer of the country on trial, to show to the world that Nigeria really means business when it talks about fighting corruption. You know, this is a monumental case, a case that can really set Nigeria apart when you are talking about countries that are really fighting corruption. And I think that this is how many of the advisors of the president see this. It's not easy to take this kind of decision that you want to go against the chief judicial officer of the land, you know. And having gone this far, I'm not sure that they will simply want to agree to a political solution that will allow Onnoghen to simply vacate his position, forfeit what he legally acquired, and not be made to face the humiliating judicial processes.
Janet, when you look at the politicking that came after the announcement of the suspension, you could see the way the PDP was so vociferous. You think Onnoghen is a member of the People's Democratic Party. You see the way APC people, too, they were, you know, it became so political. And Nigerians, any action taken, you know, on this case becomes so interesting and political. What do you make of how we react to things in Nigeria?
How we react to things in Nigeria?
That we look at it from political point of view, religious point of view, ethnic point of view. We don't.
The problem with us, with many of us, is, I don't want to say all because there's no statistics to substantiate that. The problem with many Nigerians is that we are too sentimental. We are emotionally attached along ethnic line, political affiliation.
Don't forget that the group, the South group, led T.Y. Danjuma actually made a statement yesterday saying that this Onnoghen thing is like Islamization, an agenda to Islamize Nigeria.
You know, they go along certain lines that you begin to wonder that why would people leave the substance and then be pursuing sentiment? Even Niger Delta is not united. A group of Niger Delta said they support what the president is doing. Another group of Niger Delta came out to say, Onnoghen must fail the music. So if we look at things dispassionately, we will be able to achieve a lot. Because many things, okay, the problem here is, did he actually, the allegation before him, can those who allege, can they prove it? Would he have to go to jail first before the allegations are proven? You understand? Does he have to go to jail first before he will prove his innocence? No. Or will he have to be tried?
It's a system thing. Bukola Saraki went past through system.
I'm looking at different hypotheses. We are just looking at the scenarios that we should remove sentiment from this and look at the substance. What is the substance here? Did he commit this offense? Did he face, what law did he break? The Code of Conduct Bureau Act, that is the offense. So what is the punishment? Then you begin the trial. But the NBA, even the NBA is divided. It's not all the lawyers that are in support of Onnoghen, and it's not all the...
Lawyers did not. They didn't boycott anything. They went to...
That's what I'm saying.
Including Lagos. They went about their normal duty. It shows the political divide.
Yes.
But in the South, in the Southeast, they complied.
It shows one thing, that this is a very delicate issue that needs to be treated with caution and wisdom, like I said before. When things are going that way, this side is pulling and standing on its side. This other side is also pulling. We hope that something will not give at this. You understand?
Oh, I think, like you said, for senior citizens in Nigeria not to have the ability to rise above sentiments, at a trying period like this. It is very, very unfortunate. Because for us to develop as a nation, we must be able to rise above petty sentiments.
All sentiments, not even petty. No sentiment is petty.
Corruption is the major thing that is against development. It's the major threat against development in any polity. And when this thing is happening few weeks to the election, and some people are taking positions that belittle their standing in the society, it means Nigeria is very sick. Because I can't imagine a former president of Nigeria or a former chief of army staff of Nigeria taking positions, fighting for somebody that has admitted committing an offense. He has already admitted. And for South governors to come around, I could remember during the Adeosun, do you see any governors coming around? I think we have to separate issues from sentiments. We don't have to allow emotions to rule our head during this particular time because we want to score political points. Most of those people who spoke for Onnoghen are out to score political points. And it is unfortunate that elder statesmen are joining this thing. We are not looking at the substance. Because if this matter is allowed to be swept under the ground, there's no judiciary in Nigeria again.
Still to come, 15 months after allegation, EFCC files fraud charges against Babache Lawal and that's the former NIA boss. We'll be right back after this time out. Please stay with us. It's still Journalist Hangout. It's Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from Television Continental, the station of the year. A widely accepted notion teaches us that no time is too late to do that which is right. But another popular maxim says, justice delayed is justice denied. 15 months after, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has filed a 10-count charge against the former secretary to the government of the Federation, that's Alhaji Babache Lawal, over the grass cutting scandal at the Presidential Initiative for the Northeast. The EFCC also filed four counts against the former Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, NIA, that's Ayodele Oke, and his wife, Folashade, before a Lagos Federal High Court over a huge sum of money found in an apartment in Ikoyi. Babajide, apparently the report of the vice president, because a committee was set up and the vice president headed that committee, apparently this is like a fallout of that recommendation that was made, that these people, they were found one thing according to the initial preliminary investigation, and they were recommended for prosecution. What do you make of this? Can you hear me, Babajide?
Well, I think that this is the right thing to do. Before now, so many people were saying, Babache Lawal is very close to the president. Because he's close to the president, that's why he has not been brought on trial. I mean, if Babache Lawal was sacked as far back as October 2017, why has it taken this long to bring him to trial? And the supersonic speed by which Onnoghen was put on trial has actually gotten many people angry. And they began asking questions that, how can you receive a petition, and within hours of receiving the petition, you've decided to put the subject of the petition on trial. Whereas here is someone who was indicted by a Senate committee, and his matter was investigated, and he was relieved of his position as far back as August 2017. And one whole year after, was not brought before any court of law. So the government has responded, even though I agree with people that this has come rather late. The government has responded to those who felt that the delay in putting Babashir Lawal on trial is really indecent and does not cover this government in roses at all. But the good thing is that is finally going to face justice. So what is left is for the prosecution to do its job diligently. Many times I don't get excited when they say EFCC is putting big people on trial because of his very bad record of conviction of politically exposed persons. But it's a good thing that he's going to face trial, and we just hope that in the end this would score us more points in the war against corruption. And of course there are other people who are going to be tried with him. We expect the anti-corruption agency to do due diligence, do its work well, you know. So because if they do not do their work well, these whole efforts will amount to nothing. I've heard people say that they didn't want to put Babashir Lawal on trial because they couldn't find the right kind of evidence. Maybe now they have enough evidence to put him on trial. Maybe not. Time will prove to us whether they really have the kind of evidence or a prima facie case against the former Secretary of the Government of the Federation.
Jide, let me come to Janet here. And when last week I was listening to the Vice President and at that debate session, and it was like the President has given a directive to the EFCC, you know, to prosecute Babashir Lawal and Ambassador Okay. That means does that connote that the EFCC is not an independent agency as they made us to believe before? EFCC has to wait for a directive from the presidency, had to wait for 16 months, had to wait for the president's body language, had to wait for the vice president to say it on national TV to move in against Babashir Lawal and this okay man.
EFCC is not 100% independent. And sometimes EFCC is selective in cases, charges, who to take to court, who not to take to court, depending on the caliber of the person, the offender. It's like in some other institutions, even in the police, some have to wait for the instruction or directive of a DPO. If the person, the offender, is maybe a friend of the DPO, they say, "Okay, what we do?" They have to wait. So in the case of EFCC, it's the same thing because of the caliber of person involved in Babashir. Because ordinarily, if you look, ordinarily, if you want to follow the corrupt practices and other related Act 2000, Section 26, subsection 1C, they don't need any directive because he has already broken that law. And it's punishable under Section 12 of the same Act. They didn't need directive from anybody. They just needed to just go arrest or go pick or invite Babashir and then. But however, it's better late than never. What is the intention of these charges? Are they charging them with the intention of prosecuting and getting justice? That is another angle we need to look at. Are they charging him with the intention to just say, let it be on record that he had been taken to court, and that will be it? Are they charging him with the intention that they have gotten all the facts so that when they get to the court, the judge will not throw out their evidence? That's another angle. Because some people deliberately, they'll just go to court. Yes, just go to court without any evidence or lack of adequate evidence, and then the judge looks at it and throws it, and that's the end of the case. And who is going to be pursuing this case?
Tunde, I'm putting the same question to you.
I think
they waited too long. EFCC waited to see the president, to hear from the presidency before prosecuting these people.
I think there are two issues here.
We have election in 2 weeks. Do you think the federal government is doing this because of the pending election that Nigerians might look, your anti-corruption war has been selective?
Well, I think it is not impossible because it is human beings that are in government.
Look at the timing.
The unfortunate aspect of it is that the president have always been saying that he wanted each of the institutions, each of the government departments to be independent, to do their job as they ought to be done. If that is the case, 15 months is tantamount to justice delayed and justice denied. Are they telling us that it has taken them 15 months to assemble those facts? If it has taken them 15 months, then they have no reason to fail because EFCC has lost many cases in the court in the last 3 years. So they have no reason to fail with this particular one. The matter has to be proved beyond every shadow of doubt if it has taken them 15 months. If it is for political expediency that the federal government is doing this thing, then they have to go back and search whether they can really faithfully prosecute the war against corruption. Because if it's for political expediency, it means they are just to show face at the tribunal at the end of the day. If their bait is the Chief Justice of Nigeria, when the man is left off the hook, Babashir Lawal too will fly in safety. And it is unfortunate, and it is not proper for the kind of image the president is giving the international community that he wants to fight corruption. The Yoruba people have a saying that if you spare the rod on your brother or your sister, then others outside will not respect you.
Moving on now. It was the great French statesman and soldier Napoleon Bonaparte who once quipped that in politics, absurdity is not a handicap. What may sound absurd may be a tool to achieving an end for politicians. Members of the Lagos State House of Assembly are poised to removing the state's governor, Akinwumi Ambode, from office with less than 4 months to the end of his tenure. Despite public outcry and pockets of protest against the move, the lawmakers refused to back down on the impeachment threats against Governor Akinwumi Ambode. At some of their sittings, they insist that the governor must appear before them to clear some allegations of financial impropriety and gross misconduct. Let's hear some of the lawmakers.
A budget is a law, and there is no mistake or I don't know in any law. As long as it's passed and it's signed, it should be followed. What we're saying is that the budget we've done, each time it goes back to the executive, they rewrite their own budget, and they make sure they don't follow it.
The issues of gross misconduct that have been clearly highlighted before this Honorable House be closely looked into and necessary sanctions be applied.
Some fifth columnists have crept in and saying that it is because members of the House of Assembly want the governor to fund their campaigns. How can the governor fund campaigns of individual members of the House of Assembly?
I agree with you. Many people have asked for resignation of the governor and deputy governor, or impeachment process be commenced, and vote of no confidence on the commissioners we have mentioned. There's fair hearing anywhere, and we must consider and give them fair hearing to come and explain.
The last person, the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, that's Mr. Right Honorable Obasa. Babajide, what is happening in Lagos State? Although you are in Abuja, but I'm sure you are keeping tab with what is happening in Lagos State. Why will the lawmakers want to remove Akinwumi Ambode 4 months into the end of his tenure? In spite of the fact that, yes, he lost the primaries, he wasn't given a return ticket, and that will be the first of his kind since 1999. Yes, he's meant to go home. And in spite of all that, if they go ahead to impeach him, it will be on record that he was never the governor of Lagos State, and all his entitlements would not be given to him, be forfeited.
I'm confident. I am confident that what is going on will not lead to the impeachment of the governor. If it gets that far, then some people will have demonstrated that they are very irresponsible. The APC controls the House in Lagos. And even some of the PDP members have already defected into the APC. So this is supposed to be a family affair. So I expect reason to prevail in the end. I expect leaders, true leaders of the party, to weigh in at this point and talk to the lawmakers, talk to Governor Akinwumi Ambode. There is no reason for me to believe that there is no one who can talk to Akinwumi Ambode and they will listen, because this is about his political career. This is about even the well-being of the people of Lagos. So this is not a matter that should lead to impeachment, except one party continues to treat the other party like it is insignificant. There is a process when it comes to budget presentation. There is a process that every one of us is familiar with. Akinwumi Ambode has kept faith, or had kept faith with that process for years. And that process is stipulated in section 221 of the Constitution, which says that the governor shall present a budget to the House. He will address the House, reading the content of the budget before the House, before the full House. Now, what the governor has done is to just merely send the document to the House, accompanying the document with a covering letter that if they need any explanation, then that it will be ready to entertain such explanations. But the House naturally saw this as contemptuous, because you must lay the budget before the House. That is what you've always done. What has changed in the year 2019? Anyone who has been following the relationship between the Lagos House of Assembly and the governor will know that, yes, there had been problems. For example, the matter of Visionscape. The Lagos State House of Assembly has been insisting that Visionscape is a ghost company because the governor didn't get their buy-in before settling for Visionscape. And everyone can see that when it comes to evacuating refuse from Lagos streets, they've not done a good job. So in taking a decision, at least you should have consulted the House sufficiently. That is how you can work together. But what we have is the House and the governor, they are not on good terms at this time. But there is still an opportunity to find peace, because there is a committee that has been set up. That committee, the commissioners are supposed to talk to the committee today. The governor is due to talk to them tomorrow. So I will advise Governor Akinwumi Ambode, because he is the one now who has to behave reasonably so that he doesn't get embarrassed. I will advise him to find a political solution to this problem. And then a date can be fixed, because ideally, once your budget is ready, you will send a letter to the House. That letter will be read on the floor of the House. And the day in which you will now come and present that budget will be known to everyone, the committee of the House.
Janet,
so this has not been done.
Somebody is...
And those guys, the governor was treating them with disrespect. That's why they've gone to this extent. So...
Okay, going around town, you know, Some people are even saying that the governor through the back door is funding the campaign of the opposition, and this got to the party, some of the party chieftains, and this actually egged them beyond the face value of budget or no budget or gross misconduct, because Section 188 is so vague about that's gross misconduct.
It could be anything.
Anything can be termed as gross misconduct. But this is what we are faced with in a situation whereby it's been alleged to have done that. How best should this party treat this situation?
Yeah, I've also heard about that allegation or speculation that he's secretly funding.
Yes,
but nobody can really. Yes, we cannot. You and I cannot substantiate that. But the one that has come out from the mouth of the lawmakers, which we heard and which we have read, the basic problem is financial misunderstanding. Ambode is treating them with contempt. He doesn't want to appear to go and answer those or defend himself on those allegations. And my people say you don't go to war with a man that has nothing to lose. He is the governor, has everything to lose, his name if he's impeached. I think he should appear and go and defend himself. What are these allegations? One of them is that he built the Oshodi interchange for 22 billion. That was not approved by the House, and he bought 820 those buses at the rate of 70 million each without approval. And again, this bus stop that we are seeing all over, that each of them, 100 of them he had built for 50 million each. We can see those bus stops. Are they really worth 50 million? But we cannot say, because I'm not an architect, I'm not a builder. But from what I see, I have my own reservations. But I feel that
as a third-party contractor, I can take that for 20 million. I'll do a better job.
So I think he should go before the House. They are threatening. Last week, they even said they've impeached him. I called someone and said, no, we are ready. We're just compiling the allegation. Want to send him a letter. He should go and appear, defend himself, because the Speaker is a very matured person. He's talking about fair hearing. That's how we should do. He's a father of the House, so he's now talking fairness. In the spirit of fairness, let Ambode go and defend himself, so that the fairness will manifest.
So when push comes to shove, when you're looking for numbers, when you're looking for the figure, Lagos State House of Assembly, they have 40 lawmakers. And if they are collecting signatures, because of the kind of leadership All Progressive Congress run in Lagos, they will get more than 2/3. They might even get 95% of the lawmakers in Lagos House of Assembly to append their signatures to impeach the governor.
Well, you see, let me refer to General Obasanjo, President Obasanjo. He said something. He said, advice is very, very expensive. You may be appointed as an advisor. The person who appointed you is not supposed to take all your advice. I think Governor Ambode missed a lot of things. Right from the moment he started the crisis with the Lagos State House of Assembly and with the party, the APC. You see, you don't go into a fight that you know you have no strength to go through, or the whole hog. One would have expected him to demonstrate enough capacity to take on the party. But by checking out at the 11th hour, and 5 months to the end of his tenure, he has started another fight in which he knows, everybody knows, no matter what people may say, the party owns the government in Lagos, because you don't become the governor without going through the party. If you have been an independent candidate, the Governor Ambode is behaving as if he emerged as a governor of Lagos State as an independent candidate, and it is not possible, because it is not in Nigeria's constitution. Secondly, the fact that when there are crises, or when there are disagreements among many parties, if there is no compromise, there cannot be consensus. Governor Ambode has to compromise certain things. If we don't want to believe all these allegations. If they are true, then he has to come down and reach an agreement with the members. It is after reaching an agreement that there can be consensus. That consensus is about moving Lagos State forward and dropping the threat to impeach him. But by standing afar off, by following the president all over the place, in the last 2 weeks, it has not even been visible in Lagos. And there is refugees all over the place. You can go all over Lagos. You can go all over the project side. All the projects, practically all the physical projects. Have you seen anybody there? Even before the end of December. For instance, the Pennsylvania flyover, it was supposed to be completed December last year. Now, right now, as I'm talking to you now, the contractors have abandoned the site. So the governor should spend the last 5 months of his tenure to reach a compromise with the members of the Lagos State Assembly, without which he cannot move forward. And secondly, to spend the remaining part of his tenure to do something for Lagosians so that he can take something home at the end of the day. Because like she said, the members of the House of Assembly can return to the House several times over, but he cannot return to that place because the party has denied him the ticket. And his political relevance in Lagos, nay Nigeria, is dependent on his ability to reach terms with the political class in Lagos, as represented by his party and as represented by the members of the House of Assembly. Because members of the House of Assembly, they were representing all the 40 constituencies in Lagos. So even if you want to become minister, can you be appointed from the air? You have to be appointed from Lagos, because Nigeria, at least statutorily, the president has to appoint 36 ministers from each state. So I don't really know the kind of politics he's playing. Maybe he has been listening to the wrong people. But the fact of the matter is that he has to settle with his party, he has to settle with the government, and he has to settle with the House of Assembly. I mean, consensus is about compromise. If he refuses to compromise, he may be the loser.
Judy, how do we get out of this logjam? It's not going to be a good thing or a fortunate thing for Governor Akinwumi Ambode to be impeached just barely 4 months to the end of his tenure.
I've told you, Akinwumi Ambode will not be impeached. This will not lead to impeachment. And I'm saying this because I'm certain about it. It will not lead to impeachment. Those who think this will lead to impeachment will wait and wait. The governor, I'm convinced that he will do what is right, because he also knows that if he does not do what is right, he will put himself to shame. So people can talk about projects being inflated and all that. We hear all that in this kind of season, and a lot of those things can be substantiated. If you subject those things to verification, you know that a lot of them are just lies designed to show that in Lagos corruption reigns. But the truth is, the governor needs to go before the House and present his budget. He did that for 3 years. What is difficult in doing that this year? Go before these men. No matter how bad you feel about what happened to you, that you couldn't get a second term. No matter how you feel about some people that you may have felt contributed to what has happened to you, you have a job to do. And I'd advised him in the past to do his best to finish strongly. And part of finishing strongly is reconciling with all the people that you have issues with, so that they can let you do your job diligently. You have a job to do. Now, Lagosians voted for you. Do that job diligently. Make Lagosians happy. Go out on the high. That's what he has to do. Go and present your budget to these fellows, so that this embarrassment can end. Why should a governor that was flying some months back, that everybody thought would never find someone to contest against him, be in a situation where impeachment is being talked about? No, that shouldn't happen.
Thank you,
so the governor should do the right thing. Go before them, present your budget to them, and that will be it.
Thank you, Babajide, for your contribution all the way from Abuja. We wish you safe journey back to Lagos. Janet Afolabimba, thank you so much. Mba Afolabi, I'm also interested in your name. Thank you so much for being a contributor to this show. And to my friend Tunde Abaton, thank you so much. And I'd like to announce to our viewers there, I'm going to be in Abuja for some time off the program, and we're going to be giving you a countdown ahead of the 2019 election. Our good man Suleiman Alede is going to be with you from Monday. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight by 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozuba. I can see you after the election. Bye.